What if all men suddenly went extinct? Just imagine it. One day all the men simply vanish. Poof, gone. It's a mind-boggling idea, right? But let's explore what that world might look like. The first thing that happens? Widespread confusion. Imagine the chaos that would unfold as people try to understand what just happened. All the men have disappeared without a trace. There are a lot of unanswered questions and stunned faces everywhere. But once the shock wears off, life goes on. The world adjusts, as it always does. After all, women are still here, and they've got things covered. Some things change immediately. No more arguments about putting the toilet seat down. That's a thing of the past. The air might even smell a little better without all those manly odors wafting around. And hey, some of the world's loudest snoring vanished. In workplaces, women step up to fill the roles left by men. There's no choice. Life has to go on. Women have always been capable, but now they're running everything. Businesses, governments, and industries are all led by women. And it's not just about taking over the roles men used to have. It's about rethinking and reshaping the way things are done. With men out of the picture, society might see some interesting shifts. For starters, construction sites would have a different vibe. The catcalling, gone. Replaced by actual conversations about the quality of work, safety, and deadlines. Workplaces might become more collaborative, with less emphasis on competition and more focus on teamwork and community. Sports would look different too. Women's leagues would take center stage, and stadiums would still be packed with fans cheering on their favorite teams. The energy would be just as intense, but maybe with a little less chest thumping and a bit more creative strategy. And don't think for a second that things would be any less competitive. Women love their sports just as much as men do. Then there's the dating scene. It's safe to say that traditional dating would take a back seat, but romance wouldn't disappear entirely. Maybe women would start exploring new ways to find companionship, focusing more on friendships, shared interests, and meaningful connections. It might be the beginning of a new kind of relationship where love and support come from a wider circle of friends and family. Households would change too. No more man jobs versus woman jobs. Everyone would pitch in equally. Those stubborn jars that used to require man strength to open? Well, there's always a kitchen gadget or a strong friend to handle that. Home improvement projects might take a bit longer without those extra hands, but they'd get done just the same. Maybe with a bit more creativity and a lot more teamwork. Transportation would be a bit of a mixed bag. With fewer men around, who typically make up a large portion of drivers, there might be fewer cars on the road. Traffic could become less congested, making commuting a breeze. On the flip side, certain male-dominated professions like truck driving and long-haul transportation might face some challenges, but women would step in and learn the ropes. It might take some time, but women would adapt, and the world would keep on moving. In fields like science, technology, engineering, and math, traditionally male-dominated, there would be a shift. Women in STEM would take the lead, and innovation would continue to flourish. With a fresh perspective and a focus on collaboration, the world might see new breakthroughs that take us in exciting directions. But it wouldn't be all smooth sailing. There would be challenges. Certain industries might struggle in the absence of men, especially those that relied heavily on male labor. Mining, construction, and heavy manufacturing would need to adapt quickly, finding ways to replace lost manpower with machines or new techniques. But women are nothing if not resourceful, and solutions would emerge. On the social side of things, there would be adjustments too. Parenting, for example, would take on a new dynamic. Single mothers would be the norm, but communities would likely band together to support one another. Children would grow up with strong female role models and a sense of resilience. Society would focus more on cooperation, nurturing, and collective well-being, creating a world where empathy and understanding take center stage. Politics would change as well. With only women in charge, governments might adopt a different approach to leadership. Perhaps there would There'd be more emphasis on diplomacy, collaboration, and long-term planning. Wars and conflicts might become less frequent as leaders work together to find peaceful solutions. Global priorities could shift towards social justice, environmental sustainability, and equality. Speaking of the environment, the absence of men might have an interesting impact on the planet. With fewer people, there could be a slight reduction in pollution and resource consumption. The natural world might get a bit of a breather, with forests growing back and wildlife thriving in areas that were once dominated by human activity. Women might also take the lead in pushing for more sustainable practices, creating a world where environmental stewardship is the norm. But let's not forget the emotional side of things. The loss of men would be felt deeply by their families and loved ones. There would be mourning, grief, and a long period of adjustment. People would need to find new ways to cope with the absence of their fathers, brothers, partners, and friends. But in time, they would find strength in each other, building a new sense of community and connection. And what about the cultural landscape? With men gone, some aspects of popular culture would shift. Hollywood might start producing more films that focus on strong female characters, with less emphasis on traditional action heroes. Music, literature, and art would reflect the new world, celebrating the power and resilience of women. And let's be honest, the fashion industry would thrive. No more debates over whether men's socks should be white or black. But it's not all about taking over and moving forward. There would also be a lot of reflection. People would think about the contributions men made, both good and bad. There might be a deeper appreciation for the roles they played, and a desire to honor their memory by building a better, more inclusive world. In the end, the extinction of men would be a huge challenge, but it wouldn't be the end of the world. Women would step up, adapt, and thrive. They would create a society that values cooperation, empathy, and sustainability. Life would go on, and the world would find a new balance. So what if all men went extinct? It would be a strange, difficult, and ultimately fascinating world. But humanity is resilient, and women are strong. They would carry on, leading the way to a future that's just as bright, if not brighter, than before. The world would be different, for sure, but it would still be full of life, love, and endless possibilities. And maybe, just maybe, there would be a little more peace and harmony along the way.